Waterfall is my newest novel set in northern Minnesota in the 1920s. And I'd like to share a little bit from my notes about it because 3 minutes is challenging. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune called it the Great Gatsby of the border waters. Even though women had won the right to vote, still countless women were committed to insane asylums for hysteria back in the 1920s, which included emotional outbursts, being too independently minded, too oppositional, or promiscuous. This is my third novel set in the 1920s in northern Minnesota, and our character is 21-year-old Trinity Baird, whose family sends her to an asylum for nearly 2 years, commits her, and she returns to her family's summer island on Rainy Lake, which is also where I live. It's a story about a woman's journey from brokenness toward wholeness and empowerment. I'm going to read from the opening chapter because I think readers want to hear the words of a work. On the dock at her easel, Trinity Baird worked to capture the morning light, orange scallops across slate blue water, then stopped mid-brushstroke, her senses on alert. From the island's highest point, the windmill turned, thwup, thwup, thwup. A muskrat swam past, leaving a faint V of ripples. A seagull cried and circled above, then flew off toward giant cotton balls gathering in the east, lake clouds. And there it was, the low, familiar thrumming. After 2 days of sleeping, sunning, and swimming, she'd started to feel hints of her old self again. Now everything inside her tensed. Breathe, she told herself. Remember, they can send you back on a whim. She cleaned her paintbrush in the folds of a cotton rag, smoothed her painter's smock over her overalls, and willed herself to gaze out across the bay as the yacht came into view. She knew the vessel well. Her first name, after all, was painted boldly across its transom. The horn sounded, a deep, resonant bellow. The engine slowed to a rumble. Mother emerged along the boat rail with Father at her shoulder. "Without telling us," Mother called, "you arrived ahead of us?" Trinity looked back past her mother, refusing to meet her eyes. She wanted to shout back, "Do you have the faintest idea of what you've put me through?" She forced her hand up in greeting. And that is the end of Waterfall. And I have bookmarks if anybody wants any. And thank you for your time.